Hello, everyone, and welcome to the day after Sidney Crosby gets his 1,000th NHL point, which is absolutely incredible. He is the 12th fastest in NHL history, the 86th player overall, but the fastest active player. And if you look at other guys who did it ahead of him, they all did eras in the 80s and 90s when it was much easier to score. And no one has done it in fewer games than Crosby recently, since Steve Eisman did it 13 years ago in fewer games. So you think about Ovechkin, he just got his recently, but he did it in 125 more games. What's even more crazy is that Crosby missed over 200 games due to injuries. He would have had 1,000 points 2 seasons ago at 27. So for him to finally get it at 29, it feels like it's been a long time coming. But he was incredible. His parents were there. They get emotional. His dad was crying. His mom was crying. His mom almost didn't make it out due to the weather. He got a winning goal overtime after a sick pass from Gino. The big boys came to play. Letang got 3 assists. Mock got a goal and an assist. Kessel had an assist. The Penguins won with 4 defensemen. Fleury possibly had his last start ever at home. It was a typical Fleury game. He made some outstanding saves, and he let in some bad goals all over the place, like Bogart Fleury. Overall, though, it was an exciting game. Patrick Laine got a goal. He's looking like a player. He's now 27 goals on the season. Crosby has 31. Laine is a rookie. He's got 3 hat tricks, which is incredible. And the Penguins play tonight again against Columbus, and Matt Murray's in net, which is important because he is the starting goalie, and it makes sense to put him against a division rival. So this just in, Uli Mata is going to be out for 6 weeks because he got hand surgery. Justin Schultz has concussion, which means the Penguins have top 4 NHL defensemen right now, and the bottom 6 is filled up by Chad Rudiwall, Cameron Gaunce, and Steve Oleski. Not exactly great, and I think Dumoulin still has his full face shield, so his vision's probably inhibited a little bit. So Letang played 31 minutes last night. I would expect him to play a lot again tonight, and I would expect the Penguins' goals, shots against average to go up a little bit due to not having those players, and not having Justin Schultz is going to be a big loss for the power play because he's been absolutely outstanding, and the curse of the Penguins continues. Let's reiterate this curse, shall we? Now, I say it's a curse because every year, a major player goes down to injury. A key player on the team. And this is curse. This is karma. This is what Penguins have for having 2 generational players right now, having a top 5 defenseman in Chris Letang, and having 2 generational players in the past. We get to win all these Stanley Cups, but we get cursed and we go crazy in the process because we lose all of our players. Luckily, this year we have more depth, so we can still do it, but our defense depth is not great. Oli Mata's already had mumps, a cancer problem, 2 shoulder surgeries, and a broken hand. Justin Schultz was actually healthy, and now he's got a concussion. You have Carl Hagelin, who's out with concussion. Hornquist missed some time earlier. Malkin had an upper body injury. Letang's had 3 stints where he's missed time due to injury. Murray broke his thumb. He had another injury. He had a concussion the end of last season. Fleury had a concussion the end of last season. Crosby had a concussion this season. You see where I'm going with this here. It's a lot of injuries, and it's been like that ever since we've had these players. Now, someone made an interesting point to me, and they said, well, is it due to the trainers? Have they had the same trainers? Because if they've had the same trainers and they're overworked, maybe they're fragile and more susceptible to injury. And they did change the trainer a couple seasons ago. Mike Hatter was out, and they have a new trainer, Alex someone, and Sidney Crosby's strength conditioning coach, Andy O'Brien, came in, and he's now in charge of he's in charge of the trainer. He runs their whole fitness program. Then they have Gary Robertson too, and that was supposed to make them, I guess, less brittle and maybe not as maybe the stuff Cater was doing wasn't working. But I mean, really, they need better like injury trainers, because even when players get injured all the time, they stay in the game or they come back too early, and the team trainers have not been very good at that. But it could be something to do with their fitness as well. You look at someone like Phil Kessel, who doesn't work out that hard, and he's never injured. So it could be that the more they work out, the more brittle their bodies are, or just certain exercises they're doing makes them more susceptible to injury. But yeah, all these guys have been injured before, and they're just going to keep getting injured because the body's weakened. It's funny how Bo Bennett leaves the Penguins. his injury problems are done. So I don't know what it is. It's a weird curse, but it's like every year the Penguins have a major injury. And it might not be the trainer thing because they have the new trainers, they revamped that staff, and they're still getting injured. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that these players work out too hard by themselves, or maybe they just, they can't all have natural weak bones, but they either come back or they play where they're not fully healthy. But every year there's something. I go back to 2010, 2011, when at one point, the Penguins were missing Crosby and Malkin at one point, and then they didn't have Jordan Stahl for the first half, and then Jordan Stahl came back and they didn't have Crosby and Malkin. They never had their top three centers the whole year, and Dan Bosma won the Jack Adams because they were still amazing. I'll go back to last year when Fleury and Murray were both injured. Zadkov had to come in, was great, and he had to start the playoffs because both goalies were injured. I go back to 2 seasons ago when like 5 players had the mumps at one time because it was just an atrocious lack of awareness on the part of the Penguins medical staff and medical team to not to let the players be near people when they had the mumps, go to a children's hospital. I go back to when Letang had his stroke and he was still allowed to travel and go on the plane, which was just completely shocking. And, but they took very care of him in that standpoint. But, like Pascal Dupuis having blood clots and allowing, playing again. Part of that was Pascal Dupuis hiding it from the staff, and part of it could be players. But I have to think that there's something off about the way the Penguins handle injuries, and combined with their off-ice training, because it's absolutely mind-boggling. I've never seen another team like this, where every year key players are missing for long stretches of time. Right now, Connor Sheary's out. Brian Rust is out again for the second time this season, probably for the season. Connor Sheary's on a second injury stint this season already. The Penguins are just lucky that they have guys from the farm who are able to come up and play really well. Sounds like they have a great system going down there. The 2 coaches work together, Clark Donatelli and Mike Sullivan, and they have the same system. So players are coming in. It's a seamless transition. But if we were going back to the days 2-3 years ago, it would be Sidney Crosby as mirror men, and he would have to carry the team on his back to victory. And I hope we don't have to get back to that. But yeah, it's super weird that every year they have these major injuries. So I don't know what it is, but it's definitely cursed for having all these players. That's what I think. Well, anyways, that's all I have for this video. Crosby had a great game. It was great to see him get his 1,000th point. Takes his place in history among the greats. He's still 5th per time in points per game, which is absolutely insane for me. Malkin is only about 100 or 150 points behind, so he should get it in the next couple seasons. Will Fleury get traded by the deadline? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. Please like if you like. Subscribe if you really like it. Share with all your friends. Tell everyone, and I'll see you after the game tonight against Columbus.